Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. We are very pleased to be able to welcome those of you that has been with us during this long time, and also for all of those who are joining for the session for the first time. Today marks our 16th session, and
Whoa.
we're super excited about our today guest. Yeah, the 16 one. Who can believe it, right?
Next will be the 32, right? We need to celebrate binary. So,
Nice,
wow.
nice. For those who are joining for the first time, I am Maria Hernandez, developer relation lead at RAK, and Jose Marcelino is here with me,
Hi,
our
everyone.
solution architect. And yeah, in our today's session, we are going to be chatting with an engineer with years of experience in several tech companies and also education programs. He has been dedicated to the creation of IoT devices and also to contribute to the open source IoT community. He is the sec behind this 1991, a firmware design, a technology blog where he's constantly sharing content about IoT, infrastructure, hardware, firmware design, and many other cool things. And in addition, he loves to hack LoRaWAN and Sigfox systems. So I'm pretty sure that we are going to learn many things from him today. So welcome, Paul.
Hey, welcome.
Hey,
How
Paul,
are you,
welcome,
Maya,
man.
Jose? Nice to meet you. To see you tonight.
Nice
Great.
to meet you. Great. No, we're super excited to be here with you. Thanks for accepting to be and join the session. And yeah, before starting with your interview, I would like to highlight something to all of those who are watching the session. If you are watching the session during the live session, feel free to ask any question that you may have in the comment section, and I will keep an eye on the chat every time a question pop-ups, or during the Q&A session that we will be doing at the end of the session. And in addition, I encourage you to all of you to stay tuned during all the session, because Paul will have many cool things to share with us, and also because we are going to be giving away some cool racks swag at the end of the session to all of those who ask questions. So that's all. So let's start. You are like a person with many years of experience in the technology ecosystem, and who has the opportunity to work with like large corporations such as Michelin, for example, and as well working next to universities, and even co-found your IoT startup and also help to co-found other startups, which is awesome. So I would like to share, like, to know more about like your career path, your background, your education, and maybe like the story behind this 91.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, who is
No,
this
okay.
91?
You have all the night. That's good.
We'll do a 2 hour session
um,
today.
yeah. So it's the story behind this 91 is I mean, it's a 20 year story, because we are in no, sorry, it's a 30 years
Oh, wow.
30
Oh,
years story, in fact. Yeah, because 91, in fact, is the year where this story has started. So the
nice.
91 is just for 1991. And it's because it's the year I've chosen this nickname. It's because when I was young, I was part of the demo scene. So
Oh,
we were making some code, mostly in assembly language, for making nothing really interesting than displaying 3D scene on computer, like 286 PCs, Intel 286, or Amstrad stuff. I don't know if you know Amstrad, because it's really old stuff, and more European things. But yeah, really old computer on 80s, 90s, beginning of 19s computers. So I did that stuff when I was young, and so I needed a nickname. I had some before this 91, but I won't talk about them. I was young. So sorry, or I need to get more beer for that. So in fact, my real nickname was not Disc 91, but it was Disc Missing.
Dismissing. Oh yeah.
Yeah, dismissing. And it's because on my Amstrad computer, I had a disk drive, and there was a kind of problem with this disk drive on these small computers. After a couple of years, they start not working correctly, and so you had a recurrent error message, which was dismissing, dismissing, dismissing. And so on every day, I had on my screen about 50 times a day dismissing. So when I have to find a nickname, okay, dismissing. We are 91, so dismissing 91. And
Nice.
dismissing was a bit long to write, so I shortened this to Disc 91.
91.
And so that's really the beginning of the story. So it was 30 years ago. And about 20 years ago, I've created disc91.com, my blog, which was not a blog at the beginning because the blog concept did not exist. So it was the website where I was publishing some news with a homemade code. And then I migrated this on WordPress and make a blog a bit later. But when I started this, it was not to be a blogger. I mean, this concept was not existing also. But it was more, my problem is I love working on a lot of different technologies. So doing searches on Google to find the information, doing code and trying to understand stuff and so on. And then I switched to something different. And sometime later, I switch back to the first thing. And usually I have forgotten everything I've made the first time. So I reset. So I was bored to search again the same thing on Google and so on. So I decided to put my notes on what I was doing on a website to keep it. So basically, this 91 is not your blog; it's just my memory. In fact, just to avoid to search on Google again. And I did that because I think I don't want to lose that time, but also if I had to spend 1 hour or 2 hours to search something on the internet to gather all the information and so on, it can be useful for someone else. So this is why on my website, it's really rare I'm talking about a product that is talked by hundreds of people on different other blogs and so on. Because, I mean, in my point of view, there's nothing interesting on this, more interesting than the 100 other opinion on this. So I try to publish content that I do not find anywhere else. So that's why sometimes it's a bit technical or too technical sometimes because the basic stuff is easy to find, so I have no big interest to talk about it.
That's
awesome.
It's your brain. Yeah, that's a great image. That's your brain. And actually, it's super quick. Yeah, it's your backup.
It's a backup externalization, you know. On disaster, I can recover my memory, my technical memory.
Just load your blog up. And it's super fast because sometimes I hear about something new, and then 5 minutes later, it's already on the Disc 91 blog. It's incredible.
My background is a bit long. But José, anytime you push something, I read, I write something about what you push. Or something. maybe it's the reason why you are one of my sources.
No, incredible.
No, that is awesome. And also you have the YouTube channel right now. After all of this, you start YouTube channel as well. And the content is the same that you share on the blog. You repost in a video format, or the content that you post is different.
I've tried different things. In fact, on YouTube channel, I'm on YouTube really posting content since about a year or a thing like this. So I've tried different things, and basically now on YouTube, I'm more focusing on a French audience because my English is I'm bored of my own English, so I think that and speaking in French, I can also go more in details. It's more easy for me, and if I want people to learn something, it's more easy. So basically, right now on my YouTube channel, most of my content is about education on IoT, education on Sigfox. Maybe I want to do the same thing on LoRaWAN. I will do some stuff also on Kineis soon. So yeah, it's more about education, and it's more focused on French channel basically. But what I try to do is like for my IoT MOOC, for example, I'm doing the translation. And the more complex part, I have to be honest, is translating this tiny one into French. And then after, I have Google Translate doing a great job for French to English and Spanish. So basically, I'm doing that job, which is quite long. And my video will be in French, my slide are in English, and the subtitle will be available with correct quality in English and Spanish. Basically, it's what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
Awesome. Actually, like I was trying to join one of your rooms in Clubhouse, but every time that I try to join, it's in French.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I don't know French. I have to learn to be able to join. Yeah. So yeah, let's move to the other question that I have. So now more talking related to your career path. You have been working for more than 15 years at Michelin. Where you pass through different positions at the company. So can you share us a little bit more about the experience in this? Sorry?
Yeah, when you tell Michelin, everything gets frozen. There's something.
Oh, sorry. Okay, that you work for more than 15 years in the past at Michelin. So and you also passed through different positions at the company. So can you share us a little bit more about your experience working like for this big company, and also about some of the IoT projects you have developed in the company?
Yeah, sure. In fact, what is a bit funny is, I do a lot of stuff for IoT outside my regular job, and I do things different in my regular job. But in Michelin, I did some IoT stuff. But that's also really interesting for me, as my engineering diploma is about computer science and microelectronics, so it's really both work. And what is interesting with all of you is IoT there is a part of electronic in it, but there is a big part of data processing, infrastructure organization, and software development. So in my jobs, I spend about 12 years working on software development and working on big international projects. It was most of them were supply chain oriented. I spent in that time also 5 years working on infrastructure department, so building big data centers, doing high availability applications, scalable application, and so on. So all these concepts are really interesting when making IoTs. So I have learned a lot on this domain. And as I was a bit bored of making PowerPoint all the day and stuff like this, I've started to have a second day after working on IoTs and developing hardware and so on. And then inside Michelin, I also work on IoT department. At start, I've been part of the incubator. There is an incubator inside the companies that's been created, and the company have selected about 5 people on 5,000 that has participated to a big contest. So I've been selected as part of the 5 to be part in the incubator and developing some innovative project. And in this incubator, I've worked on 2 IoT projects. One which was M&A, in fact, so it was the acquirers taking participation on a company doing IoT. That was really interesting, not technically speaking, but in terms of what is an M&A, how it works, and also on the way to explain what can be the IoT benefits for Michelin to managers. I mean, this project, I have found the company, I have exposed what could be the interesting things Michelin, and what could be the right partnership. And then I have to explain and convince the managers, the top managers of Michelin, on why they should go that way and what could be the benefit for the company. So it's not technical, but that was really interesting. And it was 5 years ago, so it was really at the beginning of all the IoT stuff. So that was cool. And I work on other projects. That was the communication system inside the vehicle. To create services, interaction between drivers and the company. And this, it was really a startup inside Michelin, and it has been transformed into a product that has been distributed with a new kind of tires. It's not a big success, basically, because they changed a bit the business model. That's my point of view.
Okay.
It was the right ideas, but okay. But it was the first, one of the first IoT device sell to B2C by the company. So that's
amazing.
And at the end, before leaving, I worked on a really interesting project. It's also an internal startup, but bigger. I had a team of 30 people, and we were 50, so it started to be a big startup inside the company. And the project was really cool. It's to capture movement information of the vehicle. I mean, it's a dynamic of the vehicle, and the objective is to be able to qualify the driving behavior. And this have interesting things in the insurance domain, like modifying the price of your insurance regarding your risk of having an accident. So that's the first interest. But in your point of view, in the point of view of Michelin, what is interesting, it's mostly to save life. So if we are able to identify someone have a risk in the way he's driving, we also have an opportunity to help him to correct and reduce this risk. And we have measured really good results in terms of transformation of the driving behavior and risk reduction. So that's quite interesting. In our countries, there is 3,600 deaths per year on the road. So, and in worldwide, it's millions. So that's interesting. And if you, that's really short term, but vision, what I say. But if you take a look at long term and think about autonomous vehicle and the fact that if an autonomous vehicle is something that is driving, and there is a complex situation. So you stop being a driver to become a pilot, like in a plane. You know, the plane is something totally autonomous, but if there is something that is not expected, the pilot have to manage the situation. And so they are regularly trained for facing such situation, which is something totally impossible for drivers. So the question is, how can we be sure the drivers will be able to correct any issue in case of trouble? So we have him to be a kind of pilot. We have to be sure that he's able to do that. And how can we measure it? We cannot take that people and put it in a training session on monthly basis or weekly basis, like a plane pilot. So we have to be able inside the vehicle to identify if the driver is a good driver, is still able to drive the car, or if he needs to train a bit by driving. So, and you know that all this data and all the computation and knowledge we are building with this startup inside Michelin, basically is creating the data set and the algorithm to be able to do such interesting thing. So that's was really interesting in terms of IoT application and long-term capabilities.
No, that it's incredible, like pretty awesome project, and it's a big thing. You say like it's not a pretty big thing, but yeah, I think it's like all the project behind it's awesome. And right now you are currently working for another company, right?
Yeah.
Which is called, I think it's BeWise, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nice. Which is a company specializing in digital identity and the flow of personal information and sensitive data processing. Can you share more about the activities that you're doing currently right now at that company?
Yeah, sure. So I'm architect on this company, and I'm designing to host infrastructure. So it's a cloud computing solution we are developing, and it's really specialized in protecting health data, personal data, and industrial secrets. So we are really focusing on data and security. And it's really cool adventure. It's a bit far from IoT currently, but which is really cool. It's really a startup environment also. So we are really creating a product from scratch with a good team of good tech. So that's quite cool.
That is nice. Also, you work like in your full time for things that are not directly related with IoT, and then in your spare time you do IoT basically.
Yeah.
But what about Ingenious Thing? Like that is a company at the startup that you co-found, and also like you are the CDO of the company. So what the Ingenious Things do? What are the services and products that you offer for the different markets with this company?
Yeah, sure. So Ingenious Things is what I'm doing. There is 3 times 8 hours in a day. So I have a 1 time shift, first 8 hours to my mentor, the second 8 hours for Ingenious Things, and this 91, and I can sleep a bit on the next 8 hours. So Ingenious Things is an IoT company. So we are making some. We are solution provider basically. So we are making device, but more than device, we want to develop services around IoT, and in most of the case, we try to be wide-banded services. So we are not targeting really verticals. We are more developing a platform plus backends and APIs to have some our customer who are addressing vertical domains. Okay. We have started working on this domain in 2013, 2014. So really at the beginning of the IoT and the rise of Sigfox. So we have developed a lot of products around Sigfox technologies. And we start also developed a product on LoRa and Helium currently.
Nice.
And we had, we are addressing a smart home solution, with a product which is MyTP. One just right there. So it's a home sensor, and the particularity of this sensor, it's a wood-based device. So it's quite cool. Unfortunately, it's nice to see. Yeah, it's very cool. Okay,
it's a wood IoT device.
Yes, yeah, we've been in CS with a product a couple of years ago, but it's a B2C product, and it's a bit complex, but it's interesting. It's the beginning of our story with Sigfox, because it was really interesting to use this technology to address the secondary home or elderly home. So we address home where the network connectivity, the Wi-Fi is not there, and that's the differentiator for our product. And that's why also we have chosen wood as a material for the product, because it really fits with this kind of environment, and it's quite cool. But it's gonna be on the market soon. we are finishing the API.
Do you mean a LoRa version? Do you mean a LoRa version will be? Do you mean a LoRa version will be on the market?
I don't know, because the question about LoRa is really the network coverage, and for B2C device, we really need global coverage. So now it starts to be something that could arrive. So that's why we start working on LoRa also. But the main business we are doing on agricultural and some other things, we have different products. But the main thing, in fact, we are developing is tracker, because it's really where the market is. And so in terms of trackers, we have different products. We have a tracker. It's a test tracker, but it's its size. And basically, it was this one is the old version with the Sigfox in it only. And in terms of size, it was the smaller tracker with more. The most important quantity of energy inside. So it was quite interesting in terms of autonomy. And now we have the new version So it's a version outside the box, but it's the same size, same box. And this version, in fact, is the first tracker which is compatible with Sigfox, TTN, Helium, LoRaWAN, basically.
Nice.
In a single chip with the same firmware. I mean, you can switch from Sigfox to LoRaWAN dynamically with no specific modification. So you can imagine, for example, that when you have a LoRaWAN coverage, you can have a high rate, and when you are not able to join the LoRaWAN network, you can switch and get global coverage with a lower rate positioning. So it's quite that's going to be interesting. Yeah. And I also work on a product which is a cool innovation. We have designed and finished. It's a stick tracker, and stick tracker is something which, in my point of view, is really changing something in the IoT world. As this device can be produced basically around $1. Okay, so it's, I mean, when it's $1,
$1.
Price of the
$1.
chip.
Okay.
Yeah, it's everything. I mean, the PCB, the battery, it's been manufactured and so on. That's why it's not really beautiful. There is no nice plastic box around and so on, but we are really working on price. Basically, with that device, when I have to send this kind of device to my customer, instead of paying for a parcel transfer with a tracking on a postal service, I use a traditional letter postal service and put that one inside to track my delivery. It's less expensive for me, and with that, I'm able to have a geolocalization for the parcel, for the letters on the many different points is. So the precision is about from 1 to 5 kilometers. So it's not really precise, but for a letter of parcel, you know that it is progressing, going the right direction, and so on.
Nice.
So it's good. And when my customer opens the letter, the device automatically sends me a message to say it has been opened. So I have a proof of delivery included in my real-time proof of delivery in my device with my transportation. And this is less expensive than paying for the tracking solution. So
that is awesome. And how about the battery life of that tracker, the $1 one?
It's this one we are about 300 messages and a maximum of 6 months. So
nice.
Yeah, you can. I mean, sometimes it could be a bit more than 300 messages, but I mean, it's 100% working with 300 messages, and 6 months it's the sleep consumption basically, which is drawing the battery, and this can be a bit longer. It depends on the if we remove the light detection, it can be longer. So, but basically we do that.
That is awesome.
Last point is Last point. It works. It is certified in Europe, so it's really a go-to-market in Europe, and we also have validating. It works in North America, in South America, and in Asia with different versions because the frequency are not the same. But this device works basically worldwide currently, so that's quite cool.
As soon as you get the certification, I will love to get ones and play with it around here. Yeah. I can serve you as beta tester over here. So yeah, like I think like your career path allows you to I don't know, create many cool things and also like support startups around like the ecosystem to build like cool products and cool companies. So can you share like any particular advice for those IoT entrepreneurs who are like in the early stage of their projects? Like, I don't know, any tips and tricks for them?
Yeah, what I can share is that you can get really good ideas. You can have really cool innovation basically in IoT. But currently, going to the market with IoT is really a long path. And that's really important to know and to take into account. For example, in all our design, we have all these products basically because we try to be really agile in our design. So we are really designing the product step by step. with a really limited investment. This allows us to pivot, regarding what the customer wants. For example, for this device, there is a place for putting a button on it. There's no button, but we think that maybe there is some interesting use case with a button on it. And so we had this. And it's super easy if we have a customer say, I need a button for COVID just to verify if the people that has to clean the room has passed or not. Okay, we can do a POC with that. So we have a product, but this product is also made to be a POC for something else if needed. And maybe maybe we will sell 1 million of this one for being a button instead of being a tracker. That's possible, basically. So what I mean with this is, if you start a project, if you have an idea, sometimes you have your idea and you don't want to think about anything else. You don't talk with people who are having different ideas, etc. I say stay open. Stay open, because what is complicated is reaching the market. So if someone proposes to buy you 10,000, 1,000, or 1 million of device in something which is a different idea compared to the one at the beginning, take it. Take it. Maybe your idea, but maybe your time. The timing of this idea is not perfect. When I think of this product is now ready since a year. I'm convinced that it's a revolution, not because it's my product, but because I'm convinced that having a IoT under $1 is creating a huge number of new use cases with a really large market. It's really touching tables, chairs, and anything. I mean, I'm a table maker. For $1, I can put that on my table, and I'm able to have a view of what happened to my product on all the downstream supply chain. So I know the stock of my tables in my distributors. I send it to my distributors, the time between the distributor and the reseller, the time between the reseller and the consumer. I know in what region are my consumer. I know a lot of things I totally ignore today. So the potentiality of such thing is really high. But if I'm talking with a table maker, it just don't understand anything about what I've just said to you.
Yeah.
It's not his job, and his job is making wood
Make tables.
Yes. And this transformation is really long. So when you do IoT, be prepared to have a long transformation on the market, be prepared to pivot, be prepared to take any opportunities you can find, and to be ready for that. Don't spend too much money at the beginning. Do small iteration, be agile, and listen to the market, try many things. And maybe it's the best way. Or the other good thing is start with the client. Don't start designing anything. Don't start thinking about what you could do and so on. Start the client. And once you have the consumer, make the device for this kind of market. It's also efficient.
Amazing.
Very
Thanks
wise
for sharing your tips and tricks on that. And also, before joining to the demo session where you're going to be sharing more about the ThinkStack V3 migration, I would like to ask you a last question, which is what are your general thoughts about RAK, and also how did you first hear about us?
I hear about RAK. A couple of years ago, when I was starting to deploy the Sync network in my city. Okay, I will talk about the TTN migration because I own 5 or 6 getaways inside my city, most place on rooftop. So I spend some time to do that. And at the time, I was looking for different hardware. And RAK is well used on that domain because you can easily put it on a Raspberry Pi, and so you have hats and so on. And in the maker domain, most have already a Raspberry Pi and love to hack the Getaway, so they were using a RAK system. But I did not use them at that time because my point of view is I want to have something which is plug and play. For when I put it something on a rooftop, I don't want to update my Raspberry Pi and so on. So I'm more plug plug and play. So I did not bought rack at that time, but I know the brand from this, and that's really cool. And I start by rack by antennas. Because they are really good and low cost. So my first rack is an antenna or a set of two antennas, basically. And then I try also the waste block, which is something really interesting. I had a good time with that, and think to use it in some product or some next hack, because it could be an interesting platform. I have to port my SDK on it to be in my environment, but in terms of hardware, I mean, it's really interesting, because what I like is it's like Lego. You take the different parts, you screw them, so you have something which is strong and industrial, and you can deploy it at 100 PCs or things like this. Currently, one of my issues is when I'm developing product like this one, when I will be able to sell 1,000 of them, I will produce them in an industrial environment, so that will be cool. But right now, I produce them 10 by 10 for beta testing, for small for tests for customer and so on. And so I do it myself. So every time I have to make one, I spend about 1 hour for a plastic component by hand, cooking on at home. So yeah, it's really time consuming. And by using, if I can do the same kind of stuff with box stuff, I can just put the hardware together, screw, and I can, in 1 hour, I can make 10 or 20 of them. And so it's really more interesting in terms of production efficiency. And if I have to make 1,000 of them, maybe I will make the PCB and have a larger production. But for the starting, for testing the concept, as I explained, I want to be able to pivot and so on. If I have kind of Lego thing, it's really cool. So I need to put my SDK on your platform. And then I will do more than just hacking some prototypes. That's good.
And I think I can mention that we are going to support your favorite PCB package, which is KiCad as well. So we love templates now. Early next week, so you can do your sensors on IO boards in KiCad.
Nice.
Cool. I was thinking today about doing a Kinesis for WizBlock to play with it. Maybe if it's
it's already done. Yep.
Nice. So okay, go ahead.
Sorry. No, the last point is since I've tried your Getaway now, I mean the not the Raspberry Pi ads, but the really compact Getaways, and I really I mean, I really appreciate it. They're really not expensive, and really and the quality is really good. So that's cool. Now, my next one, I hope, is going to be the next I will deploy. I have the place in Clermont to deploy it. Now I have to find the gateway. But I think it's going to be right. Yeah.
Nice.
That's the outdoor one.
Okay. Yeah, the 7240. Yep.
Yeah. I think it's that one. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
yeah. I think we can jump to the demo session.
Let's see.
Let's see what we have today.
Cool. So I'm going to share my screen.
Perfect.
Got it. And so I'm going to talk about the Sync network, which is currently in V2, migration to the Sync stack, which is in the V3. I mean, if I want to talk about this, it's because I have to do this in my city. As I told you just before, I've deployed about six getaways all around the city, and in my city also some people join me, and so we have something like 10 to 12 different getaways covering the area, and so we are in the situation where we need to do that migration and to organize this migration. At the beginning, I've seen the Sync Stack V3 environment say, "Wow, yeah, that's really cool." Really, I mean, the interface is fresh new, and there is lots of things new you can do with that. So it's pretty cool. And then I start seeing how project migration could be, and it has started to be much more unclear and and so I've decided to make some publication to explain how I'm gonna do it locally, and now I'm trying to share this experience. So we are in Clermont-Ferrand, my city. We are really at the beginning of the migration, but I've tried to project what are going to be the different steps and so on, and this is what I want to share with you. And the most important things I want to share is it's not an option. You cannot say I want to stay in V2. It's not concerning me, or you cannot say I'm a device developer, so I'm not concerned by. No. Everyone is concerned by this migration, and so you need to take this migration into consideration. So to understand this, you need to understand some of this migration. The first one is that all the traffic from the Getaway in V3 is not routed to the V2 infrastructure. So it means that basically a device in V3 will not be received by a Getaway in V2. So don't migrate your Getaway too fast. The other thing is that the V3 environment does not support all the Gateways protocol. Even
Paul, sorry for interrupt you, but are you sharing your screen right now?
I see.
Yeah, because I was thinking, okay, no problem at all.
Oh, we're missing some slides.
Yeah, we're missing awesome slide that Paul present for us.
Oh, what's that, man? What?
Yeah,
okay.
the awesome.
You got the slide?
Yeah, we got this.
So
you must do it.
I want to say. You really need to do it, even if sometimes you would prefer to do something else. But the migration from V2 to V3, you have to do. So take your time, but do it.
Or it will be painful in the future. Is that the message?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. If you don't do it, you're gonna have some big issues. So sorry for forgetting to share. So I say that the V3 Getaway won't route the V2 device. So that's an important thing. The gateways does not all support the TTN V3, and particularly the layered gateways. I mean, if you don't upgrade them, I have 3 gateways layered on rooftop, so I have to go twice on this rooftop to upgrade the gateway.
Oh God!
I have to do that before migrating any device to V3, so that's a mess. The other important thing is that when you switch from V2 to V3, the device has to rejoin. So if you are a device maker or you have some device you made by yourself, I mean, if you are a hacker quickly developing something with a Raspberry Pi or thing like this, usually in the setup, you make the join, and then you have the loop sending data sometime. And so to join, you have to reboot. Okay, so if the device is at home, it's cool. If the device is somewhere outside, you need to reboot all the device. It's not a good way to develop devices. I mean, you always have to manage the network disconnection, but sometimes you don't do it. So it's going to be a problem. And the other big change is that the metadata are different between V2 and V3. Particularly in V2, you had the gateways or positions. In V3, you don't have the gateway positions. So if you are using this information for device localization or things like this, you will have to do it differently. So that's a bit annoying. So by saying that, you see that it impacts people deploying the gateway, it impacts people having devices on the field, and it impacts service provider, basically, or the integration layer between the TTN platform and your application. I've tried to summarize this with some icons. What does that mean? That if the gateway is in V2, it means that if you want to migrate your device from V2 to V3, it will not work until the device rejoin. So you can migrate it in the platform, in the TTN backend, but the device will only join after rejoining. I mean, the session will stay in V2, and to open a new session in V3, you need to make a join on this environment. We still, fortunately, a device in V2 works correctly with V2. That's a good news. But a device in V3 will work correctly with the V2 architecture, so that's cool. But you will lose all the metadata. Basically, the message will pass through the packet forwarder. And so all the information about what gateway captures information with what RSI per gateway and localization will be lost. So if you have a development using this metadata, it's going to be a problem. Once you're going to move the gateway from V2 to V3, it means that all the devices in the area using V2 will be disconnected, as the traffic is not routed from V3 to V2. So you will lose the V2 device. And for the V3, good news, it's going to work. So it means that before migrating for the gateway from V2 to V3, you have to migrate your device previously. And once you are in V3, so V2 will not work and the V3 will work, but as I said, the position will be lost in the metadata. So you will have to manage it differently. So from these elements, we can create a migration plan. And on this migration plan, the first one basically is to ensure that the V2 gateway will still be able to route the traffic coming from the V3 device, because as I say, there are some protocols that are not compatible. This is basically really fast if you have a gateway that is not posing problem. I don't think that RAK are concerned by this question. So basically you have RAK, okay, that's cool. There's nothing to do. But if you have a layered, for example, you have to go to all the layered, upgrade the firmware. When you do a firmware upgrade, you lose all the configuration. As you change the protocol, you also lose in TTN some of your information, like all the mapping on TTN mapper and things like this. And so it takes weeks to do. It's really important to do that, because if you don't do that, your message you won't be able to be in V3. And then you can easily migrate the applications. I mean, it's just a definition. But when you deploy the application, basically it's also change the integration. So that's going to be longer. But the application part is really, really quick. Once you have an application, you can deploy your device. I really recommend to migrate one device, do field test, application test, service test, and so on, and before going to the next step. So deploying one device can be something really quick. But when doing this, you can discover that your device is not reconnecting, rejoining automatically. So you can have to update your firmware for this. So it can be weeks also. Once you do that, you need to upgrade your integration, as I said, and we're going to see that in detail. But the way the metadata and the payload and so on are transferred from the Sync Stack V3 is different than the TTN V2. So your backend application need to know this new way of communication. So if it's custom made, you have to update. It can take weeks because you also need to test it and so on. And once everything is prepared like this, you can do your migration of device to V3. So depending on the number of device and so on, it can be long or not long. If you need to upgrade the firmware to make them compatible, it can be long and so on. But if you have just a declaration of the device and V3, and this is like V3, it's okay. And the last step, and V3 is the last step, then you can migrate your gateway to a V3 infrastructure. This can be a bit long because the gateway are in many different places, and so you have to do this. Be sure that during these two phases, you are in a deployment, and during these phases, you create disconnection for your device, for device of other people. And so it's really important for the Getaway owner to have a communication with the local community and so on, to not migrate too fast the gateways. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of disconnection and impact on the service for the users of the network. And that's the main difficulty is in TTN. I mean, you don't have an easy way to contact other Getaway owner or other device maker or device deployer, and so the synchronization is not really easy. So I'm gonna be fast some details on the different step of this. So the supported protocol for the Getaway are the Getaway using the Semtech legacy UDP protocol, the basic station protocol, or the MP forwarder protocol. But the Getaway using gRPC won't be supported. So it means that if you have a Getaway in gRPC, even if it works well in V2, if you have a device migrated to V3, this device will not be able to communicate on the V2 architecture through this Getaway. So in my city, most of the coverage is provided by layers in version 93.7. And it means that if I migrate device to V3, they won't be able to communicate on the current network. So I have first to upgrade the firmware of my layer to 93.8 to be able to use them with Semtech legacy UDP protocol with the V2 environment, and then my V3 device will be able to communicate. So it creates a certain complications. So it's a really an important point. About the application, creating an application is quite easy, but you have sometimes you use function to decode the payload and to transform it into different values you can proceed in your backend. And the decode function is a bit different. In fact, the return is a bit different. By the past, you just return the decoded value, and now you have a structure where the data contains the decoded value, plus you can add warning and errors. So you have to make it slightly different, but as you see here, the blue part is just a copy and paste of the previous TTN V2 decoding. It's inserted in a version. So it's easy to do, but it's an opportunity basically to use as new features. Having the error and warning things can be interesting to reject from. Basically, if you create something inside the error array, the backend will reject the frame and not push it to your backend server. So it's something you don't have to manage at the backend application backend side. So that could be interesting to do that. And I think the warning could be interesting for some traceability. So that's quite cool and easy to do. Concerning the devices, what is really cool in the ThingStack V3 is that this environment is supporting all the version of LoRaWAN. It's supporting many parameters for the device. So that's really cool because thanks to that, you can get benefits of all the evolution of the LoRaWAN protocol. So that's quite cool. Also, if your device is a commercial device, maybe it's already been described. So you just have to select the provider, the version, and so on, and everything is configured automatically. So that's quite cool. By the way, even with branded device, you can have many questions about the version of the firmware, the subversion, blah, blah, blah. So doing this migration can take time because you need to deep dive on some technical information like, okay, I had a device, it's basically working, but is that a LoRaWAN 1.0.2 or 1.0.3? Or so you have to search information about this. So it can take a bit of time. You can do that manually through the UI. It's really good for deploying one device. There is also a CLI that helps you to script this when you have 200 or 1,000 devices to migrate. It's really better to use the CLI. But for the first one, the manual thing is quite good. So The wizard is well done once you have all the information. About the integration, as you can see on the screen, even if it's a bit hard to see in detail, but the structure of the message is different. Like, for example, in the previous version, you have directly the device ID in the structure. Now you have device ID, which is part of end device IDs, and inside you have the device ID. And so there is lots of little difference like this. So it means that on your backend application server, you have to manage a different payload, and also some elements has been removed, like the gateway position. So if you proceed it, you have to manage that. The other important point is during the migration, all the traffic coming from the V2 infrastructure will come from a packet forwarder. So the metadata will be totally different. I think I have no, I don't have the. Sorry, I was thinking about having a slide on this. The metadata will be totally different from them. And during the migration phase, if your device is moving, like my trackers, they can be in different cities. They can be in city in V2 and then going to city where there is V3, and sometimes the message can be captured by a gateway in V2 and another gateway in V3. And so basically the metadata will be slightly different in these different situations. So the backend have to manage this situation. So it is some development about it. For the device migration, as I say, you really need to ensure that the device are able to rejoin when switching from V2 to V3. Look at the code. I mean, it really depends. There is nothing in LoRaWAN detailing the way we should manage a rejoining situation. So basically, if your device, certain device will rejoin every 24 hours, sometimes will never rejoin, sometimes will have a hack sometime, and if
Hello?
We lost him.
Okay, I thought it was my fault.
No.
Okay, no problem.
He's probably connecting to TTN
the device
V3
by itself need to know that you have to. During that time, we lost all the communication. So all the data will be lost until the device manages rejoin. So that's an important thing. And about ABP, I don't know what happened on ABP. There is no joining process, and I don't think you can have the session transmitted from the V2 to V3. So honestly, I don't know. Maybe it's easier, or maybe it's impossible. I don't know. I just seen question on forum. I don't use ABP, so I did not investigate more on this. When migrating the gateway, my main message is you're not alone. It's not because you have your gateway and you have your device for your home and you're super happy, but some other people are using the gateway. That's the purpose of the SYNC network. So when you migrate your gateway, you create an impact on the others. So you really have to make sure that the community is ready. It's not because you are ready that the community is ready. And also having a network in a city with 2 gateway in V2 and 2 gateway in V3, it's not something really interesting. So it's also important to synchronize with other gateway owners to do this migration. Not, I mean, the same day would be good, but it's a bit complex. So in the same weeks or same months, it's good. But try to reduce this migration to limit the impact on the devices on the service. So that's quite important. Unfortunately, I know that in most of the country, it's really hard to get a beer all together, but it's a good opportunity, this migration, to meet all the people running the SYNC network all over the world and have a beer to make the plan of this deployment. That could be a good opportunity, but it's quite complicated. So the message from the Sync network, I would really like them to get a plan to tell us, okay, move our getaways in between September and October, and we do this movement all over the world. That could be something really cool. But currently, there's no more precise message like don't migrate your getaway right now, move and as far as possible. So I think they are organizing the project also on their side. So I hope that we're gonna have some information, but currently it's not really clear. And think about the usage. That's the main important thing. So my last slide for this presentation. Currently, there is some things that are a bit missing in my point of view from the Sync network. I hope that they are going to work on it. The first one is a planning for this. If I read some deadline, for example, they say that the TTN V2 interface will be frozen at the end of this month or end of next month. So it's really short period. But if you cannot add V2 devices into the platform, if you have a business on this, it's going to be a problem. As if you add them in V3, but the gateway are not compatible, the communication won't pass. So that's quite complicated, and I don't think they can maintain this planning, or it's going to be a mess. So having an overall and coherent planning would be something really great. Also having a visibility on who is doing what. So is Getaway are migrating or not migrating? Are the device are in migration, or just everyone is just waiting currently would be really important in my point of view. To even for a local organization, it could be something good. So getting some progress dashboard could be really good, but currently I still nothing. We also need local communication to contact devices that are located in our city, to contact Getaway owner. We have local communities, but I mean, it's because every one of us is having a Twitter account for local community and so on, but it's not really efficient. We could do something better. And also inside the city, I don't know how it is everywhere. I try to be a leader in my city as I have most of the antenna deployed, but there is nothing indicating that people should refer to me or ask questions to me if they have some. So something could be improved on this. On the other hand, TTN community is making its maximum to make this migration as smooth as possible. There is the Sync network forum, and there is a dedicated place in the Sync network forum where there is a lot of exchange, discussion, and a quick reaction from the community and the different difficulties you can have. So that's really the right place to find the support and ask the question. And there is also some documentation about migration. The documentation is improving day after day. So you have the official place where you can find the information. On my side, I document my migration. As I say previously, it's my memory, basically. So my backup
my
is there.
brain right there.
Yeah, so you can take a look. So I share my experience. It's only my experience, so I won't talk about the gateway I do not have or things like this. I discover the layered problem because I have some. Otherwise, I won't have talking about it. So you have all that stuff, and my message today is really: if you are a device maker, if you are a device owner, if you have a gateway owner, right now, take a look on what the migration means for you and start doing things, even if small things. Prepare, because it can be really simple for you, or it can be a big mess. And so if it's a big mess, you can be really short in time at the end and have some device never communicating in the right time. So be careful of this. That's my message for the day. So
thank you for sharing that presentation, and also to sharing all your thought and your experience doing this migration, and place all the things that your brain learned in these processes on your blog, which is awesome.
Yeah.
we have a few questions, so I will jump on the question that we have. Also, just like a few comments I would like to highlight. Here's one that I appreciate your straight honesty and technical details on your blog, which is a message for you. And also, we have a question here. Do you perform EMC tests on your products?
Yes, I mean, sure. We are doing all the needed tests. For my product, we need to test the radio performance, radio compatibility with Europe, and so we do all the needed, all the expected tests for products. Sure, before selling it. For prototype.
Definitely,
it's a bit different.
Also, you share like a many thought during your presentation, but this is another one. Next to Travis, what are your thoughts on the breaking change with V3? I don't know if you want to add something additional.
Yeah, I mean the V3 is really more modern. The V2 platform was really great. I mean, in terms of IoT backend, it's one of the best I know. But now it's a bit old. It has been made 4 or 5 years ago. So the V3 is really better for that. It really integrated the packet broker stuff, all the security server. I mean, all the way now we are mentioning. But I think LoRaWAN is my point of view. It has been a really quick made protocol specification around the table with people a bit drunk, I think, and so there's lots of things that has been changed, upgraded since the first version, and all what has been upgraded has big impact on the network server, the identity server, and so on. So all the process of commissioning devices has really been improved because it has. At the original point, it was a bit. I mean, it was not finished basically. So the different versions have improved this, and the Sync network also have. Outside of the specification, I've made really a lot of really great improvement for this. So the V3 is integrating all these improvements and giving access for the community to these improvements. So that's really cool. So that's the breaking change basically is there.
We have another question here. Does TTN migrate TTIG for me, or do I need to do something? TTIG is based on basic station, right?
Yeah, no, they are not. I did not migrate mine yet. I just take a look to the migration page, and they are not doing it for you. It's quite a bit complex because in the TTIG there is no there is no screen. Basically, you can just set up the Wi-Fi, and it seems to be fully automatical. But for the migration, apparently you have some specific stuff to do for this.
Really? I didn't know that.
I may be wrong because I just take a look at the migration page detailing how to do that. So you can find it on the website. And the page was long. So if it's automatical, it's just one line, and now the page was long. So
got it.
No, absolutely.
We have another question here from Travis. Does you see helium gaining and struggling foothold in Europe? And how does the transition of TTN from V2 to V3 play in here?
Yeah, that's a really good question. For sure, helium is really gaining stronger in Europe. It's really progressing fast. If the hardware is arriving, right, guys, you know that we are over some. So, it's. I mean. Take my Montferrand. So I've been deployed about 6 Getaway on my own. There is 2 or 3 others that has been there for months, but they are mostly TTIG indoor, covering nothing. And since a couple of months, I've been joined with Auvergne Wireless, so it's a group of people doing wireless stuff and covering with people with Wi-Fi by the past and so on. So they joined me, adding on the rooftop the LoRaWAN connectivity. But all of this has taken about 5 years. 4 to 5 years to get these people. I have, I mean, it's a small city. I know most of the technical people on my city. I have made a lot of talk about TTN and so on, and the number of Getaway did not grow a lot. Okay, about Helium, by the different forum, I already talk with about 10 different people I don't know. So not tech guys, but more investor guys, basically. And it's something about 20 that are expected in the next weeks. So it's I mean we start talking about Helium in France in the 3 to 4 months. It means that in 3 or 4 months we're gonna have more than twice the number of hotspots than what we did in 5 years with TTN. I don't know how it's going to be the coverage. That's a good question. But it's progressing really fast, and that's a good question. So what will be the impact on V2 to V3? Because if I have to go to my rooftop to update all my setting and all that stuff, the right question is, I have a really nice place right now covering a large area. Do I keep my TTN coverage? And I mean, I will do that personally because I love TTN because it's really, I mean, it's sharing network, it's free, and I love this spirit. But the question is for other people will be, I can take that time to deploy a Helium Getaway. I will be paid and get a lot of money, and basically it's gonna save my time and my money to do that. So that's a really good question. I'm afraid that with that migration, the Sync network, which is currently to about 12,000 community getaways plus 15 commercial getaways. With the transition, by just some people will never migrate their antenna. It could be going down something like 8,000 or 10,000 or less getaways. And in the same time, Helium could grow faster and get benefit of this. So I think that the migration, regarding the Helium situation, the migration from V2 to V3 is really the worst timing that TTN could have. It's my opinion.
Your opinion. Nice. Thanks for sharing those. Yeah, for the last questions, we have one from Xavier. If I want to set up 100 sensors on TTN V3, is there a way to do transfer it faster than manually entering device AI, etc., for an instance, for an Excel sheet from a manufacturer?
Yes, Xavier. There is a CLI. I don't have a lot of device on TTN, so I won't on my own experiment that CLI. But there is a CLI made for that. So basically, you can export with the CLI your devices in V2, and you can re-import them in V3, adding all the extra setting you need to do. So this is documented on the forum and documentation. I've seen an example around the CLI, so you will find documentation and support on this. I'm not sure that the CLI is 100% terminated in terms of development today, according to what I've quickly seen, but if not, it will soon. So no issue with that.
But there was a CLI already on V2, right? So it's nothing new. I've used the CLI on version 2. I want to make a point about something, because I imagine that business users are not affected by this because they will be running on the Things Industry servers, which were already V3 from way before. So they get all the gateways now, and they don't need to do anything. They're just running. So if you're a business user with lots of applications and you're paying the Things Industry, so you don't have any problems with this migration.
Oh yeah, really good to precise this, because I'm really focusing on the Sync network
on the public.
The public. The Sync industry is it's just getting more coverage, so that's cool.
Yeah, they don't care.
Actually, there is like a bulk option that you can like upload a JSON file on it that allows you to quickly set up like multiple devices adding like all the information as well, including the device UI on it. But not sure like if you can change like from an Excel file to the JSON, but it's like a pretty easy format to manage as well. Yeah, I think that's all like for the questions. There is someone asking over here. I'm going to place it just to get what Jose thinks about. And Maria and Jose.
Yeah. We're going. Of course, it's the 16 session.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Going.
So what we can do, I think it will be nice to have like a question from Paul for all of those who are watching the session. And the first who answered the question will be receiving a WizBlog connected box.
Okay, I have to find a question. So why does 91 means in this 91?
all of those who watch the session since the beginning will know the answer.
Who is
Let's see. Let's see if somewhere answered the question on the comment section. For now, there is one more question over here. We can place it just to wait for the answer. One more question. Does TTI also get benefit of community gateways that are on V3 routed to the packet broker?
So for sure, the TTI will get benefit of the Getaway on V3. Is that true to a packet broker? Basically, I don't know. I suppose yes, but I don't know. Yeah, so I can't answer that question. I'm not a TTI customer, so.
Actually, we got an answer for Arnold. I wasn't doing child to bed, so he can answer the question. I don't know if you want to jump with another one, like technical one regarding the migration from TTN. That will be easy for all of those who join at the last minute.
So what is the last action you have to do when doing the migration from V2 to V3?
Okay. You have a second chance, guys, girls, all of those who are watching. Let me check the question here. We have another question over here.
Yeah,
the open source. Yeah, we got it. Migrating gateways. Xavier, you will receive a connected box as well.
He got one last week, didn't he? No. How many boxes do you need, Xavier? Come on.
Xavier. I was first.
We have a little fight now.
Actually, I don't know who was the first one.
You're right. He was first.
He was first. Okay, I have to check the YouTube one because I'm getting a lag on the stream platform. But okay, Arnold, thanks. you will be.
Could have also won.
This
is getting very stressful. These sessions.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's nice. Arnold, you suggest making the giveaway. You couldn't get in the first question, but you get in the second one. Actually, Travis is just mentioned something. That is why I touched your nose, because last week we made a giveaway on the Helium Happy Hour, and we were like all of us were in a call in a Zoom chat, and the giveaway mechanic was the first that touched his nose or her nose would be the one who won the WizBlog connected box. But it was nice. Yeah, okay. I think that was all for the session. Arnold, I will be contacting you to arrange the WizBlog shipment. And yeah, Paul, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your insights about Arnold, you win the connected box. And thanks for sharing the time and sharing all the thoughts.
You got it.
Well, Amazing. And also like for sharing like your thought about the things stack V3 migration. I think it's really useful for all of those who are looking to do this, and it's not just looking, they have to do it, as you mentioned. And yeah, I don't know, Jose, if you want to add something else before closing the session.
Yeah, where can people follow you? Maybe this 91, is it just a website? You've talked about, what are you doing these days?
Yeah.
Website,
Yes.
Twitter,
Yeah, exactly. Website,
Clubhouse.
more for content. Twitter, it's disc_91. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. I really appreciate that. And on YouTube, you search for YouTube Dis91. You go to the right page. Otherwise, it's on my real name. LinkedIn also. You don't hesitate to contact me on LinkedIn. It's my name is Paul Pinault, Pinault. Type Dis91 in Google. You will find my real name also. And yeah, my video are in French, so for YouTube it's more for French, but the subtitles are there. Travis, so
subtitles.
Nice.
I have nothing to propose. And basically, yeah, on Clubhouse, I'm on Clubhouse, but as you say, I like to do Clubhouse in parallel of hacking and so on. So usually, I join French room or create French room because it's late and it just better for me.
Nice. Okay. Perfect. So everyone who wants to chat with Paul, feel free to reach out to him. Also, you can find his LinkedIn profile on the video description. So yeah, just click and you can be in touch with him. Also, thanks to everyone who connects to the session, all of those who ask questions, who participate with us. Was a pretty funny Q&A session, and also like for the giveaway interaction, and also to all of those who stayed during the entire session. If anyone is watching this session later, feel free to leave any question you may have on the comment section, and Paul, Jose, and or I will be super happy to answer and address your questions later. We hope to see you next week and enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening. My best wishes to all of you guys and happy hacking, folks. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Thank you so much, Maria and Jose, to ask me. It was
Thanks,
a really
Paul.
Nice session. Really happy to be with you.
Excellent.
Thank you to you.
You can go back to playing, drinking beer and playing guitar.
Yeah.
Your guitar, definitely. Okay, see you guys.
Did you record that?
No, I didn't record that. I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, guys, bye-bye. Thank you so much.